Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel for this payday routine video. In today's video, I'm going to walk you guys through my very simple 3-step payday routine process in order to overcome the scarcity mindset while also creating meaning with money and obviously hitting our financial goals. It's always like a balance to strike between those three things. So if you're new here, hi, my name's Alice. I love to chat about money and show you a little bit about my life. If that sounds interesting to you, do not forget to subscribe. I love that we're building a community here of a very healthy mindset around money, not too extreme, enjoying ourselves, also taking care of our future selves with today's money. Okay, step one of my payday routine is to input the income into the budget spreadsheet. While I'm there, I also like to update all of the transactions that happened since the last payday routine. This is a new month, so I have already closed out the budget for May. I did put in a few straggling transactions that we did spend in May, but they're actually going to come out in June's credit card, which can be frustrating sometimes. I don't like when finances aren't super cut and dry, but it's fine. We're just going to take those transactions and we're going to pay them off with the money in June. Before I had this payday routine, I would check the budget spreadsheet like every single day and obsess about it, but there's honestly only so much you can do when it comes to budgeting. So I was just causing undue money anxiety for myself. And so I find the cadence of like twice a month plus the end and the beginning of the month to not become over obsessed with it, but also to make sure that I'm staying on top of it as well. So after I input the expenses, step 2 is I go to the actual budget spreadsheet and I modify things. I know a lot of people who set a budget and then they feel really held to that, but for me, budgeting is a guide. Life is so unexpected and it really never goes the way you want it to. I don't think I've ever budgeted and like every single category was exactly perfect. Things just happen in life, and so I like to go through my budget spreadsheet and I like to change. This month we need to pull a little bit more money out of savings because last month I spent more from a sinking fund, but I didn't pull that money out of savings. I don't want to be putting money into savings and also taking that money out of savings, so I kind of simplify it and just say we're not saving that money that month. So kind of just changing a couple different things, making sure that we're budgeting with some money left over instead of a negative amount. So I try to stay flexible. With my philosophy, will I retire at 28 with $10 million? Absolutely not. It's more of living my life, creating meaning now, and then having a comfortable retirement in the future. I have nothing against retiring early. I think that is such a great goal, and I would love for us to semi-retire early. My budget is not self-contained. It has to be applicable to my life. So that's why I am totally down to modify the budget as I see fit. I always want to be saving and investing, so those are also priorities. It's always an ever-changing balance. But let's get on to step 3, which is my paycheck breakdown part of this video. I budget our paychecks for the next 2 weeks, kind of to see where they need to go. This is a huge part of being intentional with our money. To move beyond just financial security, I want to create meaning with money in my life, and that's really where these paycheck breakdowns come from. Okay, I've got my laptop right here, and I'm going to be reading to you guys the amounts that I think are going to come in and that we're going to spend on as well. For our dual income paychecks, we're going to be bringing home $4,682.81. This has been our income for quite a while now. We both graduated a year ago. My husband with his master's degree in engineering, me with my undergraduate in communications, and I'm a copywriter, he's an engineer. So that's kind of a little bit of context when it comes to our paychecks. For rollover, this is the fun part. We are rolling over with a negative $681.06. So that is because we are getting paid like a week into the month, and so we still, for the first 7 days, we did spend money. I bought a gift, my husband bought gas for his car, a grocery haul while we were transitioning our budget from one month to the next, so that those groceries are on this month's credit card balance. Also last month we did end up, I don't want to say overspend, but what happened was I bought my husband a gift, and for some reason when it comes to sinking funds, I'm not like other girls. I have sinking funds, but I don't use them. Like, I really like to cause myself unnecessary stress by having the money for something and then not using it and forcing myself to like artificially overspend even though I have the money right there, kind of put myself in a tough situation. If you're like me, you guys, we cannot keep doing this. Like, why are we stressing ourselves out like this? Which takes me to the next part, which we're pulling out of savings, $745. So that is more money than we are planning on pulling out from this monthly budget, and that is $600 that we were planning on for gifts and like celebrations for my husband's birthday, an extra $100 from the spending that I did last month to just like use the sinking fund for what it's for. So that's our celebration sinking fund, and then pull $45 out for our yard because we are not done with the flower bed still. If you are new here, we have been really chugging along on getting our yard ready slowly but surely. It's been really fun to do things one at a time. If you're a homeowner, I'm not going to say you have to do this, but I've really enjoyed like doing things really slowly, buying furniture really slowly just to make sure that it's what I want want. For unexpected, we are expecting, LOL, $86 from returns. So I returned a couple of things. I was on a huge clothes buying bender last month, and then I decided to return a couple things, and I'm honestly not really interested in buying clothes right now, which is a great feeling to have. So total, that leaves us with $4,832.75 to work with for the next 2 weeks. Alrighty, moving on to bills. So not all paychecks are spent equally. The paychecks at the beginning of the month go more towards saving and investing and fun. Well, we try to split up the fun, but the paychecks at the end of the month go more towards our bills because our mortgage comes out at the end of our budgeting cycle. With that being said, we do pay a lot less in bills at the beginning. So we have our gas and energy, which is $32.68. That's very specific because we get an email from our provider, I can't remember who it is, and they kind of tell us how much it's going to be like a few weeks in advance, which is super nice. I am impressed that it's that low, but I guess it's that transition season where it's like kind of the perfect temperature. Then for car insurance, that's going to be $137.54. That is for 2 cars, and I feel like it's a great amount. I do remember we were like, oh, you need to shop around every 6 months, and so we did, and I feel like car insurance prices have gone up so much that when we shopped around, they were all more expensive than what we have. Also, the older your car is the insurance less, because our cars are now 20 years old and 10 years old, which when we got that 10-year-old car, I felt like I was absolutely loaded. I was like, this is such a new car. We weren't car people. We weren't having the fanciest schmanciest car, but I will say I'm not immune. The idea of getting a blue Toyota Tacoma, oh, that's like my dream car right now. Are we gonna do it? Absolutely not. Just the car buying sales process in general will always stop me from buying a new car. For water and trash, that's going to be $126.38. That is the same amount every single month. Moving on to expenses. So we've got groceries, and we're going to budget a nice $200 for groceries this month because some of the money from May's groceries actually are going on to June's credit card. I do want to increase our budget for grocery shopping in June, which I think I forgot to do in step 2 because of that little like weird transaction thing. I don't want to force myself to not buy enough groceries for us. I feel like things have been a little bit lean recently, been overspending like a tiny bit maybe, or just not taking the money out of savings. Anyways, I get in my head really about like, okay, I need to save this amount of money, and then I don't budge from that, and then I force myself to overspend like technically, even though we do have the money for it. So anyways, but yeah, $200 for groceries, that should be pretty good, and that should last us about 10 to 12 days, which is super awesome. And then maybe like a $50 quick stop to Walmart to get like milk and produce and things that go bad. For tithing and donations, we're gonna budget $473.28. That is 10% of our take-home pay, plus a little bit extra for like a food bank donation. It's really important to us to donate. Super happy that we are still able to do that at this point in our life. For gas, I'm gonna budget $120. So my husband did just fill up his car. I don't think I need to fill up my car at all. My car takes like $85 to fill up, which is like sad. Gas prices did go down like 45 cents overnight. So we'll see what happens there. It's getting to the point where I like don't really want to drive very far. Okay, for pet care, I'm gonna budget $0 because I think last month we bought food and litter for them, and they don't really go through food as fast, especially in the summer. They get a little chunky in the winter, which is kind of cute. I mean, me too. For miscellaneous overflow, I'm gonna budget $175. If you're new to budgeting, this is like the #1 category that brings financial peace for me. Money that is directly supposed to go to expenses that we don't foresee. Budgeting is a little bit of future telling, and obviously we can't tell the future, so we need to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. I don't even feel tempted to spend this money because I just feel like every single month we have unexpected expenses, or it acts more as an overflow where like, say we do spend more on the cats than we initially thought that we were. This money is so great to cover that. For car maintenance, I'm gonna budget $0. If we spend $0 on car maintenance, I'll be so happy. We just for a while had like back to back things that we had to buy for our car. Take it into the shop, take it to another shop, and like that costs money, and then like emissions and registration and all that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, no. I think my husband's car needs an oil change. Oh, not within these next 2 weeks though. And we do have a car sinking fund, and I'm going to encourage myself to use the money from the car sinking fund if we do not have the money just like in our budget spreadsheet. As people who have, again, very old cars, almost vintage, do need to have a very healthy car maintenance fund. I've never had a super brand new bougie car, but I feel like even those have problems sometimes. We'll see. Hopefully we don't spend any money these next 2 weeks on it. For our house and yard, I initially budgeted like only $50 for like fertilizer stuff. I'm gonna budget $150 for the next 2 weeks because we need to get a mulch, and we are doing an outdoor kitty litter box. If it's finished, I'll like show a picture on the screen right now. Notice that our cats were going to the bathroom in the garden box and they low-key killed one of our cucumber plants. I mean, it's not, they allegedly killed one of our cucumber plants. And then the rest of it is mulch. We are almost done for the season, the hot season. We did a ton in April and May. It's like 80 to 90 degrees every single day. So it's kind of past the point of doing a lot of yard work. We just have one more flower bed to finish up before the fall season. And every time you go to Home Depot, it is literally like the laws of physics do not let you spend any less than $100. That's gonna cost more than $100, even though you're just buying some bags of dirt, some weed killer. For personal care, I'm gonna budget $30, and I can't quite remember exactly what we need, but I know I need more hyaluronic acid. I am not a huge skincare person. Like, I don't have face wash. I haven't washed my face with like an actual face wash dedicated thing in probably like 5 years. I just use water. I take my makeup and my sunscreen off with Vaseline and hot water. Then I use hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is so important because I live in such a dry climate and I naturally have really dry skin. In Oregon, which is so humid, I would literally get rings around my eyes and like everywhere on my nose and like my lips and everything. Like, I'm such a dry person. Loving hyaluronic acid. I put water on my face and I put like a layer of hyaluronic acid, and I feel like it seals it in. I let it dry and then I put sunscreen on. So that takes us to guilt-free spending. Okay, for eating out, I'm gonna budget $50. That should be enough for us to eat out. Is that enough for us to eat out? If we eat at Panda Express, that's $23 every single time, but we don't always go to Panda Express. And I feel like other fast casual places are getting a little bit more expensive, but I'm just gonna budget that. If we need extra, I'll take from the splurge fund, which is our miscellaneous unexpected for guilt-free spending. Okay, for golf, I'm gonna budget $50. My husband has nothing scheduled so far, but I just feel like the weather's been so great that if he can get something on the calendar, that would be awesome. Okay, for splurge, I'm gonna budget $75, and this really is just for like miscellaneous unexpected fun money. There is something about budgeting where if you do struggle feeling very limited when it comes to budgeting, I feel like a splurge category is amazing because there is something so freeing about going to Walmart, seeing a vase and being like, I don't need this vase, but it's only $15, like I'm gonna buy it. When you have little earthquakes, it stops you from having the big one. That same principle applies to finances. If you spend years and years and years just absolutely limiting yourself when it comes to finances, really restricting yourself, that you can have the big one where you totally overspend, can just use this to literally impulse buy something. I just find that so freeing. It's another way that I make budgeting a lot more sustainable. Okay, nothing for travel or home dates. I think we're gonna do that at the end of the month. We're gonna go to a baseball game. Nothing for gifts. I've already bought all the gifts so far. Celebrations. I'm gonna budget $250 for celebrations. This should include one last celebration for my husband. I'm a huge fan of 3-part birthday parties. And then also I have a sibling whose birthday is also in June. So hopefully we do a little bit of something for that. Alrighty, we are moving right along with saving and investing. So as I said before, at the beginning of the month, those paychecks go more towards saving and investing, while at the end of the month, those paychecks go more towards expenses and bills. I really like doing it this way. I really like to save and invest at the beginning of the month. I found that when we first started budgeting, we'd be like, oh, we want to save, but we'd be like, oh, I don't know if we can do that though. Let's wait till the end of the month. And then that money would get lost somewhere and we ended up not being able to save as much. Now we are able to save exactly how much we want to normally. The only issue is that because we save at the beginning of the month, sometimes I'm really hesitant to take that money out if we do end up needing it at the end of the month. Like say we do save $1,000 for car maintenance that month, and then we have a bill from the like mechanic shop for $700. Like sometimes I'm like, oh no, I need to do whatever I can possibly do to not take that money out of savings. And so that sometimes causes me the money anxiety that we talk about. Completely unnecessary because we have that money in savings. So like, it's a tricky balance for sure. I think I just need to get better at pulling money out of savings for the things that we are saving for. So for the emergency fund, we're gonna budget $1,000 for that. That should help us to reach our $30,000 emergency fund goal by the end of the year. And I did do the math. That $30,000 emergency fund would be a fully funded 6-month emergency fund. My brain always tells me like, you're never saving enough. Like it's never gonna be enough. I always talk about like, what if we both lost our jobs? There was a natural disaster and we had a health problem. I always just kind of catastrophize, and I'm trying to tell myself that once we hit that $30,000, like I'm good. Very interested to see what we do with that excess money, like where that goes towards, whether it's like traveling and fun. For the Roth IRA, we're gonna budget $1,152. That is just our weekly contribution to max out our Roth IRAs by the end of the year. And there's gonna be 4 of those contributions this month. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's only 2 weeks because it's payday routine, not monthly budget. That's super exciting. Okay, not 1,152. We're doing $576 for the next 2 weeks, which that really frees up a lot of money. I was like, dang, where's all our money going for these next 2 paychecks? I've talked about this before. It definitely sometimes feels like a drop in the ocean. It'll be super impressive and cool by the end of the year when me and my husband have officially maxed out our Roth IRAs and our 401k contributions. But then sometimes you like feel really overwhelmed and feel like I can never do enough. And then on the flip side, also, I can't even imagine being 65 years old. I know it's gonna happen someday. I mean, I hope it happens someday. It's such a blessing to grow older, but so hard to imagine. And so part of me is like, I hope that we're doing enough. I feel like we're laying a really good foundation, and we also are trying to really push ourselves investing wise before we have kids, because I'm not naive. I know someday when we have kids, things are probably gonna get a lot more lean. Say we're investing a ton and it's not sustainable when we have kids. It's gonna be so great to go from investing 15% to investing 10% instead of investing 5% to 0% because we have more expenses or less income or something. So that's another part of why we're investing so much right now, but then it also sometimes doesn't feel like a lot. I don't know. Anyways, for the car sinking fund, we're gonna put $200 towards that. That again is just for maintenance. And then for the girls, which is our cat sinking fund, we're gonna put $25 towards that. It's our only automated sinking fund besides like the investing automation. So we set that up because we were really struggling to start our sinking funds because I genuinely did not see the purpose of having a sinking fund that had $500 in it, because I was like, if you have an emergency, $500 is not that much. But then I really expanded my horizons and realized that a month where you're $500 short is so much different than when you have the $500. I initially thought, okay, we have to automate them in order to make it work. Turns out we just didn't really have enough money. We had like 70 to 80 to 90% fixed expenses. So we honestly didn't really have that much money to spread around sinking funds. Now that we've both graduated, got promotions, got new jobs, we do have the money to put towards sinking funds. Okay, for celebrations, I'm gonna budget $0 because I've decided that if I'm gonna pull money out of the celebration sinking fund, I don't wanna be putting money into it. That's just kind of complicated. And also I have been obviously spending a lot on celebrations recently. So I'm just gonna like give myself a little bit more breathing room, not put so much money into savings for that. For vacations, I'm also gonna budget $200. We really wanna go on a vacation. I am someone who greatly struggles in the winter time with motivation and happiness and all of the above. It's just not great. And I found that going on 2 warm weather vacations in the winter really helps. It's a very expensive way to feel better, but if we budget for it, then it's possible. I'm not gonna go into debt for vacations, TBD on what it's gonna be, but I'm very excited for the house and yard, which I didn't realize I was pulling money out of that too. But I guess we're gonna budget $200 to put towards our house and yard sinking fund. We have been homeowners for 2.5 years now, and it is both more and less expensive than I thought it was gonna be. Like, people made it seem like your fridge and washer and dryer and dishwasher were all gonna like spontaneously combust at the same time, and your water heater and your HVAC and everything in your house is just gonna be on fire all the time. Definitely not that expensive. But when it comes to a yard is so much more expensive than I thought it was gonna be. We paid a company to put in our yard with like the fence and the sprinklers and the sod and everything. That cost about $20,000. And then we've been slowly putting in our garden beds, and I think overall with the plants and like the garden boxes and the mulch and everything, I think that's been about $3,000. So I know those expenses are gonna ramp up towards the fall when things get a little bit cooler. So we're just always putting money into that. Okay, and then last but not least, we're gonna put $400 into our child sinking fund, and we are not pregnant. We're just really excited. And I also feel like it is very important to save for a kid. Obviously, there are so many situations in which you want to be able to save to have a child, but we feel really blessed and we know that we want to have a kid. We're just starting early to save. I am someone who really likes to plan. I would never choose to get pregnant and not save for a kid, but if I accidentally got pregnant, I know that we can make it work. Or like, not accidentally, but like surprise. It's a tricky balance where like, I always know that I could rise to the occasion, but I don't want to have to. I want to be able to save for it. I think this will mean that we have just under $3,000 in that child sinking fund. And by the end of the year, we want to have $4,000. So we're slowly just putting money in for that. So the total we have left over is $361.87. That is really great because for some reason in these next 2 weeks, we're not really hitting a lot of our bills. We're gonna have like 5 or 6 bills come out at the end of the month, and that's gonna be a lot of money, including our mortgage. So I feel really good about that. I feel like we've been needing more breathing room recently when it comes to our budget. I don't know if things are just getting more expensive and that's inflation, or if it's just that we're getting less strict on our budgeting because we make more money than we used to. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me today on this video. I hope that it served as motivation, inspiration to be intentional with your money without feeding into the scarcity mindset, and I will see you guys later. Bye.